If we are one, how does this process of existence actually work? What is the mechanism for the probabilities that we face on a moment-to-moment basis? What is the construct for such free will choices? In our last episode, we delved more deeply into the understanding of who and what we are as soul, and what our journey in this lifetime and beyond is truly all about. Why we are even here having these experiences in the first place. We also pondered the question of what is the journey of soul and how do we awaken? But if the notion of parallel realities actually does exist, how do our choices impact what path we experience? Are we fixed within a certain framework of experience? Or can we shift by virtue of our choices and potential realignments with positive intentions? Finding our way back into a reality that is in sync with an enlightened awakening. Can we right the ship and move ourselves from a potential negative reality into a more enlightened, awakened reality, where our personal vibrational resonance is in alignment with the light and love of God's source, ensuring a much smoother path to spiritual mastery? Hi, I'm Darrell T. Johnson, a musician, a teacher, and a QHHT hypnosis practitioner. I'd like to welcome all of you to episode 12 of If We Are One. Hello everyone. Thank you for joining me, and happy holidays to you all. In this episode, I want to delve into a question that has become very front and center in the minds of many who are coming more and more into a greater understanding of self and our place within the multiverse. That is, what are parallel realities and how do they relate to spirituality? In a general sense, parallel realities refer to the concept that the universe consists of infinite coexisting universes, where each dimension contains different versions of ourselves, living out different life possibilities based on various choices, thoughts, and energies. Spiritually, these parallel realities are seen as manifestations created through universal consciousness, with each thought or intention generating a new branch or timeline in the multiverse. Consciousness collapses these possibilities into the single reality we actually experience. Yet other versions of ourselves can exist simultaneously in these alternate realities, separated by subtle frequency barriers, but interconnected by a shared consciousness. This concept relates to spiritual unfoldment in that aligning with and recognizing these parallel versions of ourselves can guide personal and spiritual growth. Messages or signs from these parallel selves, often experienced in but not limited to the dream state, may help us make better decisions and propel us toward higher versions of ourselves, expanding our consciousness beyond previous limitations. This awareness fosters a deeper connection with the unity of the universe, where all versions of the self coexist harmoniously. It suggests that our current reality is just one among many. And through spiritual practice and conscious intention, we can choose to resonate with and shift into more beneficial parallel realities. thus accelerating spiritual evolution. Parallel realities symbolize the vast potentiality of existence that spiritual unfoldment seeks to access and integrate, offering paths to higher wisdom and alignment with divine or universal energies. So how does the understanding of parallel realities affect personal spiritual growth? Well, it affects spiritual growth by offering an expanded perspective of existence and multiple possibilities for self-evolution. Each choice and intention creates branches of reality where different versions of oneself exist simultaneously, allowing the soul to experience a full spectrum of growth and balance among energies. Awareness of these parallel selves and realities can guide individuals in making conscious decisions, shifting their frequency, and aligning with higher versions of themselves that embody healed, empowered states. A very compelling description and perspective of how parallel realities operate and interact with us on a moment-to-moment basis is in the insights shared by Bashar, a group consciousness channeled by Daryl Anka, whom I mentioned briefly in the last episode. His perspectives resonate deeply, and I wanted to share it with you, if for nothing else, to give you a unique and tangible perspective of just how parallel realities work, and that we are all experiencing them all the time, whether we know it or not. Bashar states that in every moment of experience that you perceive, you are creating new parallel realities that coincide with the change taking place in you. As your consciousness shifts, so too does your reality shift. And every change is a total change. Every change becomes a whole new parallel reality. As you make decisions, you bring yourself through a succession of parallel reality shifts that take place so automatically and seamlessly that you usually don't recognize that this is what is happening. He mentions that we go through as many as 1 billion parallel realities per second, each choice and decision branching us off into a resonant reality course of direction. And this is where the concept gets really compelling. Movement itself, the perception of movement of any kind, is actually the perception of a succession of parallel realities. This is one reality. This is another, and another, and another, and so forth and so on, like still frames of images moving through a projector. Also, in between these decisions are a number of other parallel realities where the yous in those realities have all agreed to go through together. Keep in mind that for any situation you may be involved in, as many individual beings occupying a common space at any given time, there are that many versions of that space from everyone's own unique perspective, being created by our own consciousness in our own universe. So as we make our choices, whatever they may be, we are shifting into a parallel reality that coincides with that vibrational shift, that personal choice. Spiritually, this means one can actively shift parallel realities that resonate with greater spiritual awareness, peace, or fulfillment by changing beliefs, emotions, and actions. What this fundamentally means is you are no longer that person you were then. You are literally a new person. This process supports spiritual unfoldment by helping release limiting identities and past burdens, enabling transformation and accelerated growth. The experience of parallel realities also highlights the interconnectedness of all consciousness, reinforcing that personal growth transcends linear time and physical boundaries, blending the metaphysical with everyday life. When we begin to come into a clearer conscious awareness of this, we start to understand that interacting with parallel realities requires discernment to avoid becoming distracted or overwhelmed by alternate life threads. When used wisely, though, parallel realities serve as a tool for manifesting the desired spiritual path and purpose, reinforcing that spiritual growth is an inside-out process deeply tied to the shifting of one's consciousness and beliefs. So, in coming to an understanding of the ubiquitous nature of parallel realities, the practice of activities such as meditation, prayer, visualization, and manifestation exercises literally takes on a whole new level of significance. As such, these daily practices take on a whole new meaning and importance. With this in mind, I want to share a few suggestions in how we can best attune our intentions in a more self-fulfilling way. These include vibrational attunement. Daily practices like gratitude can raise your vibration to align with a parallel version of yourself living in a more harmonious or abundant state. Bringing conscious intention to daily habits helps form a bridge from your current reality to the desired one. Meditation and visualization. Use meditation to enter altered states where the barriers between realities thin significantly. Visualize yourself embodying qualities or experiences from parallel lives, fully absorbing the feelings, which helps align your energy with those realities. Self-observation and reflection. Enhance self-awareness by consciously observing your thoughts, emotions, and behaviors. Reflect on whether they match the frequency you want to emit. Replace limiting patterns with positive ones, inspired by insights from parallel selves. Recording signs and patterns. Pay attention to synchronicities, recurring dreams, symbols, or intuitive nudges that might be communications from your parallel selves. Write these down. Interpret them with intuition and gradually integrate the guidance into your life choices. Parallel life exercise. Now this one is interesting. Choose decisions you didn't make and imagine who you would be if you had taken those paths. Create insights from this exercise to inspire changes or new directions in your current life. Balanced integration practices. Incorporate contemplative exercises like meditation and journaling. Expressive activities such as creative arts and sharing. Active self-expressions like exercise and learning new skills. And receptive focuses such as rest and reflection. All of these practices help facilitate holistic integration of these spiritual insights. These exercises help to translate the knowledge from parallel realities into actionable personal growth steps, leading to higher alignment and expanded consciousness in your daily life. It's really interesting that looking at these practices, many of which you may be doing already, take on an entirely new meaning and context when looked at from this parallel reality perspective. Now, just for fun, let's look at parallel realities from a space-time perspective. The most unsettling idea about parallel realities is that in the serious scientific versions, other yous are not far away in space. They are superimposed on this same space and time, constantly branching from your current reality because of ordinary quantum events. If those interpretations are right, then your sense that you could have chosen differently is not just hypothetical. Some version of you actually did, and both outcomes continue to exist, even though you can never communicate with those other branches, at least not in a physical reality. There is something known as the many worlds interpretation of quantum mechanics. In the many worlds interpretation, reality does not occasionally split because of big dramatic choices. It branches continuously whenever quantum systems interact. These branches are not separate bubbles somewhere else in space, but different non-interacting components of a single universal quantum state that all occupy the same underlying mathematical space. Now here's a potential shocking part about you in this space. Because branching happens in every quantum interaction, there is an enormous, possibly infinite, set of versions of you, each with its own stream of experiences, all equally real within the theory. From inside one branch, it feels like you made one definite choice, but at the level of the universal wave function, you is more like a vast tree of outcomes, where every allowed alternative path is realized somewhere. From this MWI standpoint, the concept of making a decision can be seen as a quantum measurement-like event that causes the universe, including the observer, to split into multiple branches. Each branch contains a copy of the observer experiencing one outcome. Your present self doesn't cause new branches, but rather experiences one of the many already existing potential outcomes. This means choices do not collapse or eliminate possibilities. Instead, they correspond to the observer's subjective experience of becoming one outcome among many. Stay with me. Philosophically, before a decision or measurement, an observer is rationally uncertain about which branch they will find themselves. Choice, from the observer's perspective, influences which branch they perceive as reality, but it does not affect the objective totality of all branches. Each choice manifests in branching, ensuring all alternatives coexist, and every possible choice is realized somewhere in the multiverse. Therefore, within these perspectives, choice shapes the observer's subjective path across multiple parallel realities without altering the objective existence of all possible branches. Every choice is realized, and the observer experiences one outcome, effectively selecting a path through the multiverse from a first-person viewpoint. Now, popular culture, especially sci-fi, often treats parallel realities as rare, exotic, what-if worlds. But in scientific multiverse models tied to quantum mechanics, the weird claim is that branching is the normal, continuous background of reality, not an exception. At the same time, there is currently no direct experimental evidence for other branches, which is why many physicists regard these parallel worlds as interpretational, speculative, or even untestable ideas rather than established fact. Untestable, at least for the time being. So, back to the concept of choice. If many worlds is correct, then almost every outcome that is not forbidden by the laws of physics does happen in some branch, but you only experience one sequence of events, weighted by the usual quantum probabilities. And I would even speculate that physics may even change in certain branches. But that's just me. That picture challenges simple notions of destiny. Your choices still matter in your branch, but somewhere in the larger quantum structure, opposite choices and their consequences are also playing out beyond your reach. When preparing this episode, a thought popped into my head regarding how this understanding of parallel reality might correspond to the butterfly effect. I personally believe they are related in spirit, though they may not be the same thing. For those of you who are not familiar with this concept, the butterfly effect comes from chaos theory. In certain complex systems like weather or economies, extremely tiny differences in the starting conditions can snowball into vastly different outcomes over time. It is still one single universe evolving in time. The emphasis is on extreme sensitivity and unpredictability, not on other universes being created. There was even a movie about it with the same name. You might want to check it out. Now, how this may connect to parallel realities is that in the parallel realities picture, like many worlds, quantum events lead to branches of reality where different outcomes all play out, including ones that might have started from minuscule differences. Now, this resembles a butterfly effect tree of consequences, except instead of one timeline that is hard to predict, the framework says every allowed branch of that tree actually exists in its own non-interacting version of the world. The similarity is that both ideas highlight how tiny changes can lead to radically different large-scale histories. So they both challenge the intuition that small things don't really matter. The difference is that the butterfly effect describes sensitivity within one evolving reality, where parallel realities interpretations describe a coexisting set of different realities, each with its own history, where those differences are not about prediction, but about multiple actualized outcomes. From the inner spiritual perspective, your awareness, at least from the physical mind point of view, only ever experiences one of those branches at a time. So it feels like a single, continuous life rather than billions of parallel versions of you. If you call yourself a spiritual being having a human experience, One way to translate the physics picture is your deeper consciousness rides a single path through an immense branching structure of possible realities. You continually select a path through these probabilities by living, choosing, and observing moment by moment. But who knows? From the soul over soul perspective, you may be doing both and probably have the capacity of viewing all. On a practical note, you don't have to learn how to do this shifting through infinite parallel realities. You do so automatically. The difference is in having a continuous conscious awareness that it is happening. But on a day-to-day, moment-to-moment level, you can think of yourself as in contact with parallel possibilities constantly. But only one becomes your perceived experience at each moment. Whether other branches are seen as real spiritual worlds or just mathematical probability components of a quantum state is a matter of interpretation and belief. What is most important in this understanding are your choices and how these choices shift into other forms of probability. In the grand scheme of things, all you really need to do is live your life in such a way that you are expressing your highest joy, your highest excitement, passion, and commitment to a love-centric oneness consciousness. You live your life as an open, aware spiritual being with the power of creation through divine intention. You set clear intentions that raise your vibration and are for the good of the whole. You live in the now and in the knowledge that you are never alone, always protected and moving closer and closer to self-mastery. If you stay true to these ideals, riding the wave of parallel realities will be a joy to behold and experience. We'll be talking more about these and other topics in future installments. And if there is anything that you would like me to discuss or any questions you may have about anything that I have shared, please feel free to mention it by leaving a question or comment in the comment section, and I promise you I read every one. As always, if you have found any of this information at all helpful or enlightening, please like, subscribe, and share with others. I more and more see new people coming to this space, and I am so grateful to you for being a part of this ongoing movement to a oneness consciousness. As we are moving through the holiday season and entering an extremely important new year, I will be taking a brief pause this month to share in holiday festivities with family and friends, and I will see you all early in the new year with a brand new episode. So in parting, I send you my love. I hope you all have a wonderful holiday season. I will see you in the new year. So as always, if we are one, let's all live in peace, love, and joy.